For 40 years, a father lived with a single unfinished moment. Somewhere in the world, his daughter was growing up without knowing his face, his voice, or the reason he disappeared from her life. He imagined her every year, on her birthday, on quiet afternoons, on nights when the city fell silent, wondering if she was safe, if she was loved, if she ever looked back toward the country she left as a baby. And then, after 4 decades of waiting, fate answered him in the most unexpected way. This is the story of a father and a daughter separated by war, carried apart by history, and reunited by something stronger than time: family. The day a family was broken by history. In April of 1975, Saigon stood on the edge of collapse. The war was ending, but peace had not yet arrived. Streets were crowded with uncertainty, fear, and hurried decisions that would shape lives forever. Amid this chaos, Mr. Phan Minh Triet was forced to leave the city under the pressure of general mobilization. He did not leave by choice. He left believing it would be temporary. He left believing his family would wait. Behind him, a young woman named Nguyen Thi An remained in Saigon, carrying their first child. Life was harsh. Food was scarce. Support was limited. When their daughter was born, she was named Nguyen Ngoc Nhu, a small, fragile life entering the world at one of the most uncertain moments in the nation's history. Ms. Anne loved her child deeply, but love alone could not protect a newborn in those days. With no stable means to care for her properly, she made the most painful decision a mother can make, entrusting her baby to the Duc Ange Association, hoping it would offer safety, nourishment, and a chance to survive. From there, little Nu was transferred again, to the orphanage at Hang Shan Church in Gia Jin. She was still only months old. She did not know her father's face. She did not know her mother's voice. She only knew the rhythm of being passed from one set of arms to another, each holding her briefly, gently, before letting go. Then came Operation Baby Lift. In the final days of the war, American aircraft evacuated thousands of Vietnamese children overseas. Some were orphans. Some, like Nu, were children whose parents were still alive, but separated by circumstances too cruel to overcome. In April 1975, Ngoc Nhu was placed on a plane and carried across the ocean to the United States. No goodbye was spoken. No explanation was given. History moved faster than love ever could. When the war ended, Mr. Triet returned to Saigon with only one purpose: to find his daughter. He went to the Duc Ange Association, believing she would still be there, waiting. Instead, he was met with silence. The child was gone, taken abroad. No address, no records, no promise of return. From that day on, Mr. Triet lived with an absence that never faded. Years passed. He remarried. He had a son. But the space left by his firstborn remained untouched. Holding his young son, he often felt a quiet ache, knowing there was another child he had never once held, never once comforted, never once told how deeply she was loved. The only thing he carried through the decades was a hand-drawn portrait of Nguyen Thi An, recreated from memory. It was not just an image of a woman, it was proof that a family once existed, proof that his daughter came from love, not abandonment. And with that portrait, he made himself a promise: he would search for her for the rest of his life. Life apart, a hope that never died. For Tricia Houston, life in America unfolded quietly, wrapped in care and stability. Adopted into a loving family, she grew up surrounded by affection, education, and opportunity. She became a teacher, an elementary school educator, working at the same school as her adoptive mother. By all outward measures, her life was full. But like many children of Operation Baby Lift, a question followed her through every stage of life. It did not always speak loudly. Sometimes it rested in the background. Other times it surfaced unexpectedly, when filling out forms, when looking in the mirror, when hearing stories about Vietnam. Who was I before this life? Where did I come from? Tricia knew fragments of her early history. She knew she had been cared for at the Duc Ange Association. She knew she was later transferred to World Vision's children's home in Gia Jin, where she grew healthier and stronger. She knew she left Vietnam by plane in April 1975. But everything before that, the faces, the names, the reasons, remained out of reach. In a remarkable turn of fate, Tricia eventually began working with Operation Reunite, a charitable organization dedicated to helping former Baby Lift children rediscover their roots through DNA testing. As a secretary, she assisted others in their search for family, translating records, coordinating samples, witnessing reunions that brought tears and closure. What she did not know was that her own story was moving toward that same moment. Meanwhile, in Vietnam, Mr. Triet never stopped searching. Whenever he met foreigners, aid workers, or international organizations, he shared his story. He showed the portrait. He asked questions. Many people told him the same thing. It had been too long. The chances were too small. But when asked if he ever considered giving up, his answer never changed. "I will spend my entire life searching for my child." In 2011, hope took a tangible form. Mr. Triet participated in a DNA sampling program for missing relatives. By the end of 2012, his DNA was sent to Operation Reunite. He waited, not with expectation, but with quiet faith. He had waited for decades. He could wait a little longer. Nearly 7 months later, the impossible happened. The DNA results showed a complete match. Nguyen Ngoc Nu was alive. She was in the United States. Her name was Tricia Houston. Father and daughter had been separated for 38 years. When Tricia learned the truth, the shock was overwhelming. The organization she served, the mission she believed in, the reunions she helped facilitate, all of it had led her back to herself. In the first letter she wrote to her father, she spoke not of anger, but of gratitude. She wrote that she had grown up surrounded by love, that she had been cared for, that she wanted him to know she was safe. For the first time in decades, Mr. Triet did not have to imagine his daughter. She was real, she was found, and she was coming home. The moment time finally gave back. In the days leading up to Tricia's return to Vietnam, Mr. Triet moved through the city with a quiet excitement he could barely contain. Under the midday Saigon sun, he pedaled his bicycle through familiar streets, stopping at a fabric stall to carefully choose floral cloth. He brought it to a tailor and asked for an ao dai, not for a celebration, not for a ceremony, but for his daughter. "It feels like she's finally coming home," he said, his voice catching. Tricia chose not to tell her father the exact time of her arrival. She worried the anticipation might overwhelm him. But even without knowing, Mr. Triet went to Tan Son Nhat Airport that day. He sat quietly in a hidden corner of the family reception area, telling no one why he was there. He did not need an announcement. He only wanted to see her, even from afar. By then, he had begun teaching himself English. Every word was slow, imperfect, but sincere. When they finally stood face to face, language no longer mattered. His joy was too large for sentences. Her understanding did not come from grammar, but from the way he looked at her, like a man seeing his life made whole. He gave her small gifts, 2 ao dai, 2 traditional baba outfits, and checkered scarves. They were not expensive, they were not grand, but they were chosen with 40 years of longing. Watching her try on the green baba outfit and drape the black scarf around her neck, he felt something settle inside him. "It was as if my old age suddenly became complete," he said. Tricia, in return, brought him an album of photographs. Her childhood, her school days, her graduation, each caption carefully translated into Vietnamese. Through these images, she offered him the years they had lost, not to replace them, but to share them. During her week in Vietnam, they traveled together to An Giang, their ancestral hometown. There, her name was officially added to the family genealogy. For Ngoc Nu, it was more than a record. It was belonging. She began learning Vietnamese on her own, using a dictionary, one word at a time, bridging a gap that history had carved. The reunion was not loud, it was not dramatic, it was gentle, earned, true. When love outlives time. Some reunions do not erase the past. They do something braver. They make peace with it. For 40 years, a father lived with a question that never stopped echoing. For 40 years, a daughter carried a history she could not remember but could never fully escape. War took their time. Distance took their years. Silence took their voices. But none of it took their bond. What makes this story extraordinary is not just the reunion itself, but the patience that made it possible. A father who never gave up, even when hope had no evidence. A daughter who grew up with kindness, then chose to help others find their roots, only to discover her own along the way. A moment when history loosened its grip and allowed love to finish what it started. Family is not always defined by proximity. Sometimes it is defined by endurance. By the quiet belief that someone, somewhere, is still waiting. When Tricia returned to the United States, she did not leave Vietnam behind. She carried it with her, in names, in language, in memory. And Mr. Triet, in his modest home in District 4, no longer waits in uncertainty. He waits in connection.